one red, pour out the Jameson for ancestors to swig.
You rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother dudes. You rescue me yet again. You put me first everywhere. You make me feel better than the mother dudes.
Thank you for tuning to the Black Fathers Initiative of Cleveland. Really appreciate the love. Make sure you guys click the link in the bio, like, subscribe. You know what to do. So, if you didn't know, they just said it, but the 5 Memphis police officers in custody charged with murder and Tyreek Nichols beating death. That's these 5 individuals here, and yes, they are officially charged. They're probably going to get second-degree murder. And they are going to do some time for this. I don't see no way of them not doing no time for this. They're going to do some time for this, and they should do time for this because this was just sad and completely wrong. And what I'm going to talk about right quick, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but of course it's something that that we talk about on this page, and every black person of any knowledge, any scholars, psychiatrists, therapists, all of them say that black people, unless we love ourselves, then we're never going to love each other, right? And when I look at these 5 young men, I feel like none of them neither one of these guys love themselves. And the reason why I would say that as well is because they're also cops. And I feel like if you're black and you really love yourself, you would never be a cop, because loving yourself wouldn't put you in a position to have to police your own people unless it's in a way that you want to do it. But you're policing your own people under a white supremacist infrastructure, in so many words, because police are nothing but slave catchers. That's what slave catchers started as. Police started as slave catchers. Now they just transitioned to police. So for black people to become slave catchers has always been an issue in the black community, okay? Now, of course, people say, well, we're trying to make a change from within. I don't see it, and this totally doesn't show it. I've seen black cops in having a couple issues with different things because, of course, they're cops, and I know they fear for their life at times, and it's hard to talk about this because these guys there's no way they could have feared for their life. From what I've read, what happened was there was a traffic stop. So from there, I don't understand what happened. So obviously during the traffic stop, they must have asked him to get out the car for some reason, right? So he gets out the car, I'm guessing, and then they say an altercation happens. What kind of altercation happens? We don't know. But they say an altercation happens, and the guy ends up running. So the altercation could be, them fighting, trying to get something out of his pocket. He don't want to give it up, and then he turn around and run. Or they could be saying it was an altercation where he just got out the car and ran. It don't matter. He ran, okay? So he ran. They caught him, right? So first off, when you hear running, first thing I think about is getting shot in the back. I'm glad they didn't do that. Because that wouldn't have been good either. But for them to chase him, catch him, and of course, this is something that has always happened in the black community. Police beating up black men. Ever since I was young, I can talk about being on the block, running from Vice. Vice catch you, kick your ass. For us, it was an everyday. For us, it was, I ain't gonna say it was an everyday thing, but for us, it was normal. Because they gonna rough you up a little bit, go in your pockets, take your shit, and they gonna let you go home. So that's usually how that was. Sometimes they take your ass depending on what you got. But most of the time when it came to Vice, if you ran and they caught you, they kicking your ass. That was just the name of the game. Now, should that have been happening? Absolutely not. But that's what they did. So when I think about these guys chasing him down, now I can tell you that when Vice hit the block, I can say that I've seen probably maybe 2 cops at the most. Let's say, yeah, 2 cops at the most beat up on somebody. But even when I say beat up on somebody, I don't mean like beat him to death. Like, I'm talking about hitting him in his stomach a couple times, maybe push him or something, and then boom, they throwing the cups on him and throwing him in the back of the car and taking him downtown. I'm usually seeing my friends, the next day because they didn't kill him. You know what I mean? So now, with them running and catching him, beating him up, like I said, that's not nothing new. Beating him up, okay, but beating him so bad that, unfortunately he passes away. Now, in my opinion, it sounds like, or it seems like, they may have done this before. And that's why they probably thought they just beat him up and they were going to take him to the hospital. He was going to be okay. And that was that. Because they've probably done this before. And that's probably how it usually works out. They beat somebody up, take him to the hospital. Hospital patches them up. No charges are filed, no nothing. Now, of course, we are going to see when the rest of because I'm quite sure they're going to start exposing their not criminal records, but their records, their police records, and things that they've done or situations they've been in. So I'm quite sure they're going to start exposing that stuff too. And I'm quite sure there's going to be previous times or incidents where these guys beat somebody up. I would bet any amount of money. But yes, back to the young man here. On the bottom line is these brothers didn't love themselves enough to do the right thing when it came to one of their own, right? So, like I said, for you to beat somebody and not see your brother, your father, your nephew, your uncle, your cousin, to not be able to empathize enough not to even beat him. I would say you shouldn't have beat him at all, but damn, okay, you hit him a couple times. It's 5 of y'all. Come on, man, it's 5 of y'all. I don't care how strong he is or what he's on. There's 5 of y'all. Once those handcuffs go on the person, that's it. There's no fight left. There's nothing he can do. All he can do is run and trip and fall because he's not going to get too far. So there's really no excuse for what these 5 police officers did to this young man. And I know they're going to I hope they throw the book at him because they deserve it. Some people are saying that, now that they got the charges, if these guys were white, they wouldn't have been charged. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think that if this was 5 white cops beating up on a black guy, I think it would be even more outrage. Honestly, because they quick to shoot us, but you don't really see too much of them literally hand to hand beating us down, having those type of issues. So I do think that if they were white, they would still have been charged. Now, would they get off? I don't think so. I would think they would have been charged, and I think they would probably go to jail too, just for the simple fact it's so personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of personal. Like, it's 5 of us beating up on one guy. Like, that's some gang stuff. That's stuff that people did in the gang. So what is that? Like, what do they got, a gang going on or something? Like I don't know, man. It's just sad. And as much as I think about it, I could just continue to bash and dog these cops for what they did. But the fact of the matter is, this young man lost his life. His family is gonna mourn him forever. And yeah, these cops are getting what they deserve. And like I say, I hope they go to jail for a long time because they deserve to. And also defund the police. I am a firm believer of defunding the police. I know people are gonna say things like, well, what if you need the police? And what if something happened? Honestly, ask yourself, because I asked myself, like, literally, when was the last time I picked up the phone and called 911? Like, when was the last time I literally needed to call 911? It had to be easily 22 years ago, And it was because I had gotten into it with a young lady, and she had locked herself in my car with my keys, and she would not open the door. And as she was in my car, she was just going through breaking all my CDs. I had like a CD collection, and she just going through breaking my CDs. So, and she wouldn't open the door. And I wasn't, I was close to breaking my window, but I definitely wasn't about to break my window because I'm like, I'm going to have to pay for that. So I ended up calling the police. Police ended up getting her out the car. That was that. Didn't press charges. Didn't nobody go to jail, nothing. No cases. Just, hey, come get her out of my car. A public servant could do that for me. If we had like community servants or community people that, you know, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? Made rounds in the neighborhood. You could call them and be like, hey, I got something going on here. Can you come help me out or come check this out? You know what I mean? And then they also get the respect as a cop, because now we know, all right, there's no more cops. You have to respect us as cops. They're going to do that. I feel like people would do it. People will be like, oh, okay, if you, especially if a person is going to come and help you. If I'm like, yo, we're the new community watch program, and you know, we're pretty much going to do everything that police do, but you know, we're going to do it in this community. We have this section that we have to patrol. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I mean, I don't see what the problem is. So I don't know. Defunding the police to me is a good idea. Let's scrape them. Let's scrap them and start a whole new program, because once again, slave catching is where policing comes from. So policing has and will always have a racist foundation. So until we destroy the whole foundation, the whole system, and start over again with a different system, these type of things are going to keep happening. Because I mean, like I said, you take their badges away. They just pretty much they just jumped him, pretty much. Like you was getting jumped into a gang or something. Like that's something that gangbangers do. So these guys pretty much are police gangbangers. So this is crazy. It's crazy. That sounded crazy too. Police gangbangers. But anyways, www.blackfathersofcleveland.com. Like I stated, this is just a sad story. But I will, keep up with it, and I'll probably post when these guys get sentenced and go to jail. So really appreciate the love. Once again, www.blackfathersofcleveland.com. Make sure you guys click the link in the bio, like, subscribe. Peace.